Just want to welcome everybody to the bitter end. I'm Paul Riley, the new coach of the Portland Thorns. I'm very proud to do so. To my left is Angie Kerr, one of our great midfielders.
So, Coach, you've mentioned several times in the press that you're planning on playing a really high line and being really aggressive offensively. And I was wondering, did that come from just your usual soccer philosophy? Did that come from seeing what personnel you have?
Yeah, I was a forward. So as long as we win 6-5, I'm quite happy with that, you know. Everyone coach says that, and then they do something different on the field. But I think we showed in Arizona we're going to attack with big numbers. We'll only defend with 2 or 3. You know, our biggest question mark in preseason will have been in transition. We'll be able to cope with the transition of the other teams with a Sidney Leroux and players like that on the other end of it. And obviously in preseason you don't have to deal with the type of level of player of Sidney Leroux. So I guess we'll find that out shortly. But I think the first time we play every team for me is just, it's almost like a game of chess, the first game against everybody, and then figure out game in 2 and 3 you got to win, whether it's on the road or whether it's at home.
How much did the atmosphere at Providence Park influence your decision to come? And also, how much do you hate Seattle?
I'll answer the second question first. I really hate Seattle. And I have a feeling that they will be our biggest rival this year. That's the negative factor. They brought a good squad in this year. They got a good team this year. But I think when I came to Portland, I came here one day to sign a contract, and I took a red eye back. And from the point that I got off the plane till the point I got on the plane, Gavin was like, you know we hate Seattle, right? You know we hate Seattle, right? I said, so where we're going to train, you know we hate Seattle, right? So that was basically, you know, I think I'm already in that moment. And having watched the Timbers play a couple of times, I'm actually excited for the weekend's game to see them play Seattle and beat Seattle. But we've been training at the stadium, which has been fantastic. And you know, Boston, I spoke to Boston, New Jersey, and a couple of other teams prior to coming into Portland. But once they took me in the stadium, I mean, I said to Gavin, man, what a place to coach. And then the opportunity to actually train in the stadium. You know, Gavin's like, oh, the team doesn't train here. I go, they do now, Gavin. They do now. Because I want them to get used to playing in the place that they're going to play. Maybe last year they didn't train enough at the stadium, and the home results weren't great. And if there's one thing we said from day one, we want to improve the home results, and we want to play the championship games at home, not on the road. So, in front of the best fans. I mean, the fans have been amazing. And I watched, you know, when we were trying to get players to come to the club, which is pretty easy, I got to be honest with you, because just about every player in America was calling me when I got the job. I would just send them a couple of videotapes from the first couple of games of the season, and the crowd singing and everything, and the fireworks going off, and they were like, oh my God, I want to come. Steph Catley would be a perfect example. I send it to Steph. She's like, I'm on the plane already. I'm like, that's perfect. You know. So I think that the excitement of playing, you know, for a women's team that's going to draw 15 to 18,000 people every week. I mean, nowhere in the world do you get that. And I think, you know, a lot of the foreign players that have played with me before have contacted me and said, oh, we want to come. But there's a limitation on the rules. Obviously, you only allow 3 foreigners. So I think the league will be a bit more liberal maybe down the road and maybe add a foreigner to it. But this is the place everybody wants to come to. And, you know, I want to make this not just to win the NWSL. I want to make this the best club in the world. I want to be where they say, oh, that's Barcelona or that's Real Madrid. I want them to say, well, that's Portland Thorns. And I say to the girls, when you're on the field, you got to be brave. You know, you can't be just somebody gets the ball and says, oh my God, I got to pass this ball. I don't want. And that's been really the focus of preseason. We've used the one word, brave, and Angie will tell you time and time again for every player, you got to get the ball and you got to be brave with the ball. You cannot pass responsibility. You got to be brave. And I think if you get to the point where you're all brave, you're going to get hopefully some good results. You know.
Now that you've had kind of time to digest last year, could you give us your top 3 soccer moments from last year playing for the Thorns?
Ooh. Seeing the crowd for the first time, I'll always remember that. I remember when the 90 minutes was up, I was so upset. I wanted to play like an entire another game. I think my second one is probably when we went to Western New York after we lost to Boston. We were on a long East Coast trip, and we went to Boston first, had a bad result where we were up, and then ended up losing the game. But then had to go straight to Western New York, and that's right when we turned around our season. As a team, we kind of collectively came together and realized we had to do something to change this because we all wanted to win a championship. And that game is when it all kind of turned around and changed for us. And then for sure the championship game. Probably seeing Yeah, I mean, Tobin's goal was unreal, but then Sink just finishing it off right at the end and being able to run to our fans right there was awesome.